cholesterol is not the real problem with your arteries. I know that sounds shocking, maybe even dangerous to say, but stay with me for the next 90 seconds because what I'm about to explain will change everything you thought you knew about heart disease. I'm Dr. Megan Foster. I've spent over 24 years in surgical practice. I've been inside operating rooms looking at actual diseased arteries. I've seen plaque buildup with my own eyes, not in textbooks, but in real human bodies. And here's what shocked me early in my career. Many patients with severely clogged arteries had normal cholesterol levels, and many patients with high cholesterol had perfectly clean arteries. That didn't make sense based on what I'd been taught. So if cholesterol isn't the main driver of arterial plaque, what is? And I know you've been following the rules. You cut out eggs, you switched to low-fat everything, you avoided red meat, you started taking statins. And maybe your cholesterol numbers improved, but you still feel anxious, confused, and terrified of food. You're doing everything right, but something still feels wrong. That's because the conventional advice is missing the most critical piece of the puzzle. The real problem is not cholesterol floating in your bloodstream. The real problem is inflammation and damage happening inside the artery wall itself. Your artery has a thin inner lining called the endothelium. When that lining becomes inflamed, oxidized, and injured, that's when cholesterol particles get trapped. That's when plaque forms. That's when your arteries start to harden and narrow. Same cholesterol levels, completely different outcome depending on one thing: the health of that inner lining. And here's what almost nobody tells you: you can heal that lining, you can reduce that inflammation, you can actually support your arteries in a way that doesn't require giving up every food you enjoy. But it requires understanding how inflammation works and what actually triggers it, and that's exactly what I'm going to show you in this video. If what I just shared already has you thinking differently about heart health, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button right now because we're about to go deep into the science that most doctors never explain. And I don't want you to miss a single detail. This is education, not medical advice. Work with your doctor on medical decisions. But I can tell you from decades of experience, I've seen too many people do everything they were told and still feel lost, anxious, and terrified of eating. That stress isn't helping your heart. Understanding does. Today, I want to talk about one specific type of meal, not a supplement, not a cleanse, just one pattern of eating that supports your arteries in a way your body understands, backed by real science and sustainable for life. No fear, no guilt, just something realistic that works. Here's the single most important thing to understand: the problem isn't fat or cholesterol alone, it's inflammation and damage inside your artery wall. Plaque doesn't form just because cholesterol exists. Your body needs cholesterol for cell membranes, brain function, and hormones. Plaque forms when the artery lining, the endothelium, becomes inflamed, stressed, and injured over time. When that inner lining is damaged, cholesterol gets stuck, immune cells rush in, and plaque builds up. So, this video isn't about restriction. It's about creating the right internal environment so your arteries can stabilize, repair, and function properly. Same food categories, very different biological response. That distinction matters more than almost anything else. By the end of this video, you'll understand how to build a meal that supports calmer blood flow, less arterial inflammation, better vessel flexibility, stable energy after eating, and far less anxiety around heart-healthy eating. This is practical, realistic, and you can start today without overhauling your entire diet. Now let's get into what actually works. The number one meal type that shows real benefits for arterial health isn't built around a single food. It's a combination pattern. When you understand this, you can apply it to any cuisine or preference. The foundation is omega-3 rich fat. Not all fats are the same. Omega-3 fatty acids actively reduce inflammation inside blood vessels. They shift your body away from inflammatory signaling at a cellular level. Foods rich in omega-3s include fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, sardines, extra virgin olive oil, walnuts, chia seeds, and flax seeds. Multiple randomized controlled trials show omega-3 intake improves endothelial function. Your endothelium is the thin inner artery lining, only one cell thick, but absolutely critical. When healthy, arteries relax and dilate properly. Blood flows smoothly. When damaged or inflamed, problems start. Omega-3s improve endothelial function, lower vascular inflammation markers like C-reactive protein, reduce inappropriate blood clotting, and help stabilize existing plaque so it's less likely to rupture. Same calories as other fats, very different effect inside your artery wall. Most people never hear this because the conversation is always just about lowering fat or cholesterol. If you're finding this valuable and want more content that cuts through confusion with real science, subscribe now. Drop a comment telling me what surprised you most because I read every one and your feedback guides what I cover next. The second component is fiber-rich vegetables. Fiber does more than aid digestion. Soluble fiber binds inflammatory byproducts and helps eliminate them. It regulates cholesterol absorption and transport. It feeds beneficial gut bacteria that produce anti-inflammatory compounds affecting your entire body, including arteries. Leafy greens like spinach and kale, cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and cauliflower, and legumes like lentils and chickpeas are all fiber powerhouses. Here's what's critical for heart health. Fiber-rich vegetables reduce LDL oxidation. LDL cholesterol by itself isn't dangerous. It's when LDL becomes oxidized by free radicals that it becomes harmful. Oxidized LDL gets stuck in artery walls, triggers inflammation, and builds plaque. Preventing LDL oxidation is crucial, and fiber does exactly that. When fiber is present in the same meal with fat, the arterial response changes dramatically. The combination matters. This is why whole food combinations are so powerful. The third component is polyphenols and antioxidants. This is what most people completely miss. Polyphenols are plant compounds in berries, olive oil, herbs, spices like turmeric and ginger, dark chocolate, and green tea. They're in colorful vegetables like red cabbage and beets. The more colorful your plate, the more polyphenols you're getting. Polyphenols protect the artery lining from oxidative stress. They neutralize free radicals before they damage endothelial cells. They reduce inflammation and improve nitric oxide production. Nitric oxide tells blood vessels to relax and dilate. More nitric oxide means better blood flow, lower blood pressure, and healthier arteries. Studies show diets rich in polyphenols improve arterial flexibility and blood flow within weeks, before any weight changes. You can measure improved endothelial function on ultrasound after just 2 to 4 weeks of increasing polyphenol intake. Your arteries literally become more flexible and responsive. Yet most heart health advice never mentions polyphenols. It's always about cholesterol or cutting fat, which misses the mechanism. If you haven't already, subscribe because I'm about to show you what this meal looks like on a plate, and I'll reveal the one common food pairing that cancels out all these benefits, something 90% of people do wrong. The fourth component is protein quality. Protein matters, but more isn't better, and source matters enormously. This meal includes moderate high-quality protein. Fatty fish giving you protein plus omega-3s. Legumes providing protein plus fiber plus polyphenols. Eggs from pasture-raised chickens. Moderate poultry. Not heavy processed meats or excessive fatty beef. Excess saturated fat combined with inflammation worsens plaque instability, increases inflammatory markers, and promotes LDL oxidation. Balanced protein from quality sources does not. This is why Mediterranean eating patterns perform incredibly well in cardiovascular studies, not magic. Biology. The combination of omega-3 rich fish, vegetables, olive oil, legumes, nuts, seeds, herbs, and moderate whole grains reduces cardiovascular events, heart attacks, strokes, and death from heart disease by 30 to 40% in major studies. More powerful than most medications? Achievable through food. The fifth component is controlling glycemic load. Blood sugar spikes damage arteries, even in people without diabetes. When blood sugar spikes repeatedly, it causes oxidative stress and glycation, where sugar damages proteins and fats in your blood. It impairs endothelial function and increases inflammation. This meal avoids refined starches and added sugars strategically. Choose whole food carbs that digest slowly like quinoa, steel-cut oats, sweet potatoes, and legumes, instead of white bread, white rice, and sugary drinks. Stable glucose means less oxidative stress, less glycation, less inflammation, better endothelial function. Fundamental physiology demonstrated in thousands of studies. Meal timing and volume matter significantly, but get almost no attention. Large, late night meals strain blood vessels. Your body's insulin sensitivity and vascular responsiveness are better earlier in the day. Circadian rhythms influence how your body handles food. Eating large meals late creates metabolic burden at the worst time. Blood sugar and triglycerides stay elevated longer. Blood vessels manage that load less effectively. This creates more oxidative stress and inflammation. Finishing your last large meal at least 3 hours before bed reduces overnight arterial stress. Small change, big effect. Measurable improvements in fasting triglycerides and inflammatory markers just from shifting meal timing. Post-meal movement is the easiest, most underrated strategy. A 10-minute walk after meals improves blood flow and stimulates nitric oxide release. Nitric oxide helps arteries relax and dilate, improves oxygen delivery, reduces blood pressure, enhances endothelial function. You don't need a gym, just move. Gentle walking is enough. Muscle contractions help pump blood. Movement increases circulation, delivers nutrients, removes waste efficiently. Just 10 minutes of walking after eating improves endothelial function measurably in studies. People who walk after meals have better arterial flexibility, blood sugar control, and lower inflammatory markers than people who sit still. Same food, different outcome, just from movement. Here's something interesting. This meal works even if cholesterol numbers don't dramatically change immediately. That confuses people because we're conditioned to think cholesterol is all that matters. But improving endothelial function, reducing inflammation, stabilizing plaque, improving arterial flexibility, these happen biologically before you see major changes on a standard lipid panel. Your arteries are getting healthier. Cardiovascular risk is dropping. Total cholesterol might drop slightly or not much at all. That's okay. Cholesterol isn't the whole story or even the most important part. The biological environment inside artery walls matters most. That's what this meal pattern addresses. There's one common food pairing that cancels many benefits. When people eat omega-3 rich fish or olive oil but pair it with refined carbohydrates like white bread, white pasta, or sugary sauces in the same meal, they create mixed signals. Refined carbs spike blood sugar and insulin, triggering inflammatory pathways and promoting LDL oxidation. Those negative effects can overwhelm the positive effects of omega-3s and polyphenols, like trying to put out a fire while someone pours gasoline on it. The whole meal pattern matters. You can't add one good thing and expect it to cancel three bad things. The entire combination must work together. Let me show you what this looks like practically. Wild caught salmon, 4 to 6 ounces, seasoned with turmeric, black pepper, garlic, lemon. That's omega-3s, protein, and polyphenols. A large mixed salad with dark leafy greens, red cabbage, cherry tomatoes, cucumber, walnuts. Fiber, polyphenols, more omega-3s. Dress with extra virgin olive oil and balsamic vinegar. More omega-3s, polyphenols, and vinegar helps moderate blood sugar. Add roasted Brussels sprouts or broccoli with garlic and olive oil. More fiber and polyphenols. If you want carbs, include a small portion of quinoa or roasted sweet potato. That's the meal. Delicious, satisfying, nutrient-dense. Every component works synergistically for arterial health. Or try Mediterranean style. Big lentil soup loaded with vegetables, tomatoes, carrots, celery, onions, garlic, spinach. Add olive oil and fresh herbs. Pair with mixed greens dressed with lemon and olive oil. Handful of olives and raw vegetables. Finish with berries. Same principles. Different meal, same benefits. Or a plant-forward stir-fry with colorful vegetables. Broccoli, bell peppers, snap peas, mushrooms, cooked in olive oil, seasoned with ginger, garlic, turmeric, served over modest brown rice or cauliflower rice, topped with sesame seeds and edamame. Same pattern, different flavors. Same arterial support. You have enormous flexibility. Not the same boring meal daily. Adapt to your taste, culture, budget, lifestyle. Principles stay consistent, but foods vary widely. That makes this sustainable. A perfect plan you follow 2 weeks is useless. A good plan you follow for life is priceless. What about cholesterol medication and statins? I can't tell you what to do with medications. That's between you and your doctor. Medication and nutrition aren't mutually exclusive. They work together. Statins lower LDL cholesterol. For some people, especially those who've had heart attacks or strokes, that's life-saving. But statins don't reduce inflammation like omega 3s. They don't improve endothelial function like polyphenols. They don't provide fiber, antioxidants, or beneficial compounds in whole foods. Even on medication, everything I'm discussing still applies. You're still supporting arteries at a deeper level, reducing inflammation, protecting your endothelium. Many people who dramatically improve nutrition can reduce medication doses over time under medical supervision. I've seen it repeatedly, but that's a decision made with your doctor based on individual situation, labs, and risk factors. Quick reminder, if this is helping you see heart health differently, hit like and comment with your biggest takeaway. It helps the algorithm show this to more people who need it, and I want to know what's resonating. Most people focus on the wrong marker. They obsess over total cholesterol and panic at the number. But total cholesterol is almost meaningless alone. Particle size and oxidation status matter far more. You can have relatively high LDL, but if particles are large, fluffy, and not oxidized, cardiovascular risk is actually low. Conversely, normal or low LDL with small, dense oxidized particles means high risk. Standard cholesterol tests don't measure this. You need advanced lipid testing for particle size and oxidation. But the meal pattern I'm describing improves particle size and reduces oxidation regardless of total cholesterol numbers. You're addressing the actual problem, not chasing a lab number. Another far more predictive marker is triglyceride to HDL ratio. Divide triglycerides by HDL. You want that under 2, ideally under 1. That ratio reveals insulin resistance, inflammation, and particle size. The meal pattern we've discussed improves this ratio faster than almost anything. Omega 3s lower triglycerides. Fiber improves insulin sensitivity. Polyphenols raise HDL. Reducing refined carbs lowers triglycerides. Within weeks, you see dramatic improvements in this ratio, a much better indicator of cardiovascular risk than total cholesterol. Stress and sleep critically affect arterial health. You can eat perfectly, but if chronically stressed and sleep deprived, you still have inflammation, elevated cortisol, and impaired endothelial function. Chronic stress raises blood pressure, increases insulin resistance, promotes organ fat storage, and triggers inflammation. Poor sleep does the same. Insufficient quality sleep produces more inflammatory cytokines, worsens blood sugar regulation, disrupts appetite hormones, and stiffens arteries. Nutrition is critical, but not everything. Managing stress through meditation, breathing exercises, nature, therapy, community, faith, hobbies, whatever regulates your nervous system matters. Prioritizing 7 to 8 hours quality sleep nightly matters. These aren't optional, they're foundational. Before we go further, if you're still watching and getting value, subscribe so you don't miss what's next because I'm about to share how to implement this starting today. Let's discuss the bigger picture. You don't unclog arteries by eliminating food. You don't protect your heart through fear and restriction. You support arteries by reducing inflammation, protecting vessel lining, improving blood flow, and creating the right biological environment. Same grocery store, same food categories, different strategy. When people understand the mechanism instead of blindly following rules, fear disappears. When fear disappears, consistency becomes possible. You're not relying on willpower or white knuckling through restriction. You understand why you're making choices. You feel the difference. You have energy. You sleep better. You think clearly. Blood pressure drops. Blood sugar stabilizes. You're not constantly hungry or craving. That internal feedback reinforces behavior, making it sustainable long term. I've seen this transformation hundreds of times. People come terrified, confused, overwhelmed by conflicting advice, convinced they must give up everything they enjoy. Within weeks of understanding and applying these principles, everything changes. Not just lab work, though that improves too, but their relationship with food, their confidence, their sense of control. They stop feeling like victims of genetics, age, or circumstances. They realize they have agency and power. They can influence health profoundly through simple, sustainable choices. That mindset shift is as important as nutritional changes. How do you implement this starting today? Don't overhaul everything at once. Don't aim for perfection. Start with one meal. Build one meal this week around these principles. Maybe dinner tonight, maybe lunch tomorrow. Pick one meal and apply what you've learned. Omega-3 rich fat, fiber-rich vegetables, polyphenols from colorful plants and herbs, quality protein, low glycemic carbs, reasonable portions. Eat that meal, notice how you feel, and take a 10-minute walk after. That's it. One meal, no perfection, no all or nothing. Just one intentional meal built on solid principles. Do it again a few days later. Gradually, over weeks and months, this becomes normal. Not a diet, just how you eat. And your arteries, heart, entire cardiovascular system heal and strengthen with every meal. If you found this helpful, do three things now. First, subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Second, give this a thumbs up so more people can find this. Third, comment below telling me which part surprised you most or what question you still have. I read every comment and use them to decide what video to make next. What about people already diagnosed with significant arterial blockage, stents, or bypass surgery? Does this still apply? Absolutely, even more critical. Once you have established cardiovascular disease, the goal shifts. You're not just preventing plaque formation. You're trying to stabilize existing plaque and prevent rupture. Everything I discussed does exactly that. Omega-3s stabilize plaque, making it less likely to rupture and cause heart attacks. Polyphenols reduce inflammation around plaque. Fiber helps eliminate oxidized cholesterol. The entire pattern supports plaque stabilization. Research documents cases of people reversing arterial blockages through intensive lifestyle changes. It's rare and requires very consistent adherence, but it's possible. More commonly, people halt progression, stabilize disease, avoid additional cardiac events, and dramatically improve quality of life. That's realistic, achievable. What this is about. Genetic factors matter but aren't destiny. Heart disease runs in families, but genetics load the gun while lifestyle pulls the trigger. If you have family history, yes, you have increased genetic risk. But it's not inevitable. You need to be more intentional about controllable factors. The same principles preventing heart disease in people without genetic risk also reduce risk in those with predisposition. Same biology, same mechanisms. You might need to be more aggressive, consistent, diligent, but the strategy remains the same. I've seen countless people with terrible family histories thriving in their 70s and 80s because they controlled what they could control. Age is never a barrier. People ask if they're already in their 60s or 70s. Is it too late? Is there any point? My answer is always the same. It's never too late. Endothelial cells regenerate, arteries can become more flexible, inflammation can decrease, plaque can stabilize at any age. Studies show people in their 70s and 80s who improve diet see measurable cardiovascular marker improvements within weeks to months. Your body wants to heal. It's designed to heal. You just give it the right building blocks and remove obstacles. No, it's not too late. Whether you're 40, 50, 60, 70, or 80, these principles apply and work. I want to share something personal. I've done this work over 2 decades, and the most rewarding part isn't the dramatic cases, though those are amazing. It's watching people reclaim confidence and peace of mind around food and health. I've seen people terrified to eat anything because of conflicting rules. People with panic attacks in grocery stores because they didn't know what was safe. I've watched those same people transform into empowered, knowledgeable individuals who make confident food choices, enjoy eating again, don't live in fear. That transformation is priceless. Health isn't just lab numbers, it's quality of life. Being present with family, having energy for what you love, living without constant fear and anxiety. When you understand the science and have a clear strategy, that freedom becomes possible. So here's what I want you to take away from this video. Heart health and arterial health are not about deprivation. They're about creating the right biological environment through strategic food choices that you can actually sustain. Focus on reducing inflammation, protecting your endothelium, improving blood flow, and stabilizing blood sugar. Build meals around omega-3 rich fats, fiber-rich vegetables, polyphenols, quality protein, and low glycemic carbs. Pay attention to meal timing and volume. Move after you eat. Manage stress and prioritize sleep. Monitor the markers that actually matter, like triglyceride to HDL ratio and inflammatory markers, not just total cholesterol. And most importantly, Understand that you have far more control over your cardiovascular health than you've been led to believe. This is empowering. This is hopeful. This is realistic. If this video helped you, if you learned something valuable, if you feel less confused and more empowered than you did 25 minutes ago, then I've done my job. Start with just one change. Build one meal this week using these principles. Don't wait for perfection. Don't wait until Monday or next month or the new year. Start today. Start with your next meal. And if you want calm, science based, no nonsense guidance without extremes, without fear mongering, without confusion, make sure you're subscribed to this channel. That's what we do here. We cut through the noise. We focus on what actually works. We empower you with knowledge. In the next video, I'm going to explain how one simple ingredient that you probably already have in your kitchen, vinegar, directly improves both arterial function and blood sugar control at the same time. It's fascinating science, it's incredibly practical, and it's something you can implement immediately. That video is linked on screen right now, and trust me, you don't want to miss it because what I'm going to show you about vinegar will blow your mind. Click that video now. I'll see you there. Take care of yourself. You deserve to feel confident and empowered in your health journey, and I'm honored to be part of that journey with you.